Audience, kindly rise as our dignitaries are arriving. GB Shaw once said, "Don't wait for the right opportunity, create it." A very good afternoon to everyone present here. I welcome you all for Public Lecture Series 2, Opportunities and Advances in the PR Sector, organized by the Department of English. On behalf of our college and the Department of English, I welcome our guest speaker, who is also an alumni of our college, Ms. Karen Martin. A brief introduction about our guest speaker. Ms. Karen Martin is a serial entrepreneur and an author with a deep passion for business development and public relations. She has handled clients who are a part of Fortune 500 companies such as Hilton Harriet, Hilton Hotels, Marriott, Radisson Hotels, Jack Ma Foundation, Fly Dubai, and many more. She is the founder of Cloud Kitchen, House of Anglo, which specializes in Anglo Indian cuisine with a goal to expose the cuisine nationally and internationally. She was also the editor of APO Group Switzerland and has proofread and distributed over 3,000 plus press releases for both print and online Pan African and international news media. She was nominated for Best Performer in April 2020 for the team. In the year 2021, she was awarded the Karmveer Chakra Award by the iCongo in partnership with the United Nations. Now, I hand over the stage to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everybody. A huge thank you to the English department for inviting me here today to take over the public lecture series. I'm very excited, and I hope all of you all leave this room taking back something about the public sector. So, as you see, today we're going to be talking about the opportunities and advances in the PR sector. So, a little bit about myself. I was an alumni of the college, as all of you all know. I was a media student. While studying media, didn't really know where my life's going to be after finishing a CEP course. But I think life panned out really well. And I got my first job as a publicist without prior experience. So ever since I got my job as a publicist, I've been very driven about the PR sector, and I have a huge passion for public relations. I specialize in the food and beverage and the luxury hospitality sector. So thank you, Maya ma'am. Thank you to the entire English department for inviting me one more time to come and talk about public relations. And I hope we see a ton of publicists from JNC in the future. Next slide. So a little bit about public relations. So as many of you know, public relations might come across to you as something that is a very corporate job or something that's a very streamlined job. But to be very honest, public relations houses everything that you see on the screen. It's social media, it's PR, it's marketing, it's press or media relations, it's networking, of course, events, communication, promoting, publicity, share, and blogging. So what you see on the left-hand side of the screen is everything that comes from Brandcom, and everything that you see on the right-hand side of the screen comes from Marcom. So when we talk about PR, it's divided into two things, Brandcom and of course Marcom. So when I say marketing communication, we have again your marketing process, your press, your network, your events, and communication. So this is everything that a brand does for them to engage with the public. And when we talk about events, don't just mean launches or don't just mean product launches, but events also mean your press conferences, your media relation invites, your meet and greets, and more. When we talk about Brandcom, you have your social media. That's where you see your beautiful social media grids, your aesthetics, your influencer marketing, your bloggers, your vloggers, your food writers, all of that comes there. Then again, we talk about blogging, which I just covered. We also have your share, publicity, and promoting. So share, publicity, and promoting go hand in hand. So when we talk about sharing something about a brand, what technically happens is the moment we as consumers or their target audience end up consuming content from a brand, we share it because we like it. Once we share it, that again gets publicity because we as an audience is in turn reaching out to a bigger audience. And we also have promoting through publicity and through all the shares that we do. We end up promoting the brand, whether we do it on purpose or whether we do it because we just like content. Next slide, please. So here's the deep dive into what a PR professional does. So the professional is responsible for managing a client's reputation and handling any crisis by communicating information about the company to the public, the media, and other stakeholders in an appealing and persuasive manner. So as most of y'all would know by now, every brand, whether India or globally, they have multiple crises that happen. Some of them have big slips, some of them have small slips. It is the PR person that comes up with strategies and campaigns and ways to handle a crisis, whether big or small. In the news, you all would have also read multiple announcements on fundings, product launches, different other things. It is the same PR professional that reaches out to the media and sends this to the media to let the public know that this is what is happening in a company. Next slide, please. So skills required to my students here who are from science, commerce, computers, arts, all of you. PR is not just art specific or just media specific. It's for everybody as long as you have the following skills that you see on screen. A passion for communication. Anybody that likes to meet people, likes to speak to people, likes to network, likes the media, loves writing, this is a job for you. Creative thinking, of course. And by creative thinking, I don't mean thinking out of the box. Sometimes it's thinking inside the box, coming up with solutions and telling people within the company or your team that you found a solution, and sometimes it's just within the box. Proficiency in the language, of course. To be a PR professional, verbal and written communication is one of the key aspects of the job. You need to learn to speak, you need to learn to write well, and the only way to do that, as most of our teachers tell us, is to read and read a lot. Willingness to learn. So there is no shortcut to being a publicist or a public relations professional. Every job as a publicist is different, and you will learn while you're on the job. And just because you learn something from one job, of course, you can carry it into the other job. But sometimes skills needed at the other job will be different, and it is always on the job training. Crisis management, like I had mentioned earlier, when you're a publicist, you will end up handling crises that you never anticipated would come your way. Something would be as simple as getting to a press conference, anticipating that, okay, I'll have 50 journalists coming and attending the event, and you might just get a call one day before the event where somebody will tell you that, we have cancellations and it's just 5 people who are going to attend. So that will be just a small bit or a small hint into the kind of crises that you'll handle. The way you handle these crises is what will make you a very good PR professional. And by handling crises like that doesn't mean that you just walk out and say, I can't do it. But it also means taking responsibility, closing the matter how you need to close it. And sometimes it also means letting the client know what the issue is. And then we have confidence. So the last point, confidence, is a very important aspect in being a publicist, because confidence is the only thing that will allow you to make decisions, sometimes big decisions, sometimes small decisions, sometimes decisions wherein you can't even consult anybody because you're the only one person for that project. Next slide. Public relations is open for everybody. So any of you students in this room who've ever thought that being a science student or being a business student or being a computer student, you'll never be able to apply for a job as a publicist, I'm here to tell you that you can apply for a job in your own sector. And if you'd like, continue working in your sector as a PR professional. And later on, if you get bored of the sector, you can still be a PR professional and move to a different industry while still doing the same job. So opportunities in the PR sector. I think PR or public relations as a job has been very underrated. And in the last few years, it has been a job that has slowly began to start getting recognition. So the opportunity for public relations in India is huge, as every business requires it. Some of the most prominent industries for PR professionals, whether you're a fresher or whether you have experience, includes healthcare, fast-moving consumer goods, which is your FMCG products like your ITC, your Dark Fantasy, your Akshay Kalpa, your Epicamia yogurt, technology, startup, pharma, HR, entertainment for anybody that loves the whole celebrity life and events. In the entertainment sector, you can end up being a celebrity publicist, a talent manager. You can end up being somebody that also organizes celebrity events, photo shoots, videos, etc. Food and beverage, hospitality, luxury fashion, and lifestyle. So for as a PR professional, there is no cap on what you could do. You could explore industries that are new to you. You can work in industries that you already know. But at the end of the day, as a PR professional, every day is a new task, is a new risk, and is a new learning, despite whichever industry you get into. Next slide. So these are some of the job titles in the sector. I specifically put in this slide in the presentation because I wanted all of you to understand the differences between these titles before or if you ever apply to a PR job. I wanted everybody to understand what these titles are and how they can impact your pay scale or your career growth. Because personally, as a publicist, I had no idea what these titles were when I applied to my first job. I got my first job as an editor, and I was working on press releases, but I never really got to understand that I was actually doing the job of a publicist until 6 months into the company. So here we have a PR intern. So a PR intern is a person who can, of course, apply to a public relations internship. And this is where your career will start as a publicist. Sometimes these internships are unpaid. Some of them are paid, but either ways, I would tell everybody, please go for an internship if you really want to understand the workings of the industry and the different strategies that they apply, the different formats that they have when it comes to documentation. This is where you'll start, and this is where you'll get your foundation. So a PR intern is a beginner level where one can learn and study on the job. And small hint, as a PR intern, if you mess up anywhere, nobody's going to hold you responsible. But as somebody that is going to maybe join as a full-time publicist, say with 6+ months experience, if you mess up on the job, nobody is going to actually say, okay, this person's learning, we'll give them time. As a PR intern, this is your time to make all the mistakes you want and learn on the job. From a PR intern, you'd move to being a PR associate. A PR associate manages campaigns for clients and has to research and build relations with stakeholders and also understand the media. So everything that you learn from being a PR intern slowly trickles down to being a PR associate, but at a more experienced level. From being a PR associate is where you get to being a PR account manager. So as an account manager, this has nothing to do with financials. As an account manager, it simply means that you are handling a single client, and in public relations, a client means an account. An account manager manages all PR accounts and oversees all campaigns. So this is the place where you'll have a team under you, and you will be the one who will maybe sometimes execute campaigns, but also be the one that is overlooking campaigns when they are in their strategy level or when they are in their brand level. You will be overseeing all of this and helping your juniors slowly move to the whole phase where you come and say, okay, fine, I'm confirming it. We can go ahead with the campaign. And being an account manager also means that you end up being client facing. Your juniors will be behind you, and you will be the only person who's going to speak to the client back and forth with changes and execution. The director of communications. So this is the highest you will grow in the whole public relations sector. That is, if you're working in a company. And you will be the one to report to the CEO, and you handle the company's communication department. And this also includes the PR and marketing. So when it comes to signing off on campaign budgets, when it comes to adding budgets, when it comes to analyzing how much you'd need to shoot an ad, how much you'd need to execute a certain campaign, all of this reporting and all of this putting together will be your responsibility. Now, who can apply? So here there is no steadfast rule on only a media person can apply for this job. This can also mean somebody that's from any sector. You can be from the science sector, you can be from the business sector. All of you can apply if you are an action-oriented person, because being in PR means working on your toes and not sitting back, because we don't know when a crisis will happen. Being detail oriented. When I say detail oriented, it means reading through legal documents, reading through press releases, press notes, fact sheets, all of this, and knowing when there is a mistake and correcting it before it gets out to the media. And being a good communicator. Good communicator is what I would say 90% of the job, because when we PR professionals end up speaking to a journalist. There will be times where you will have to say no to a journalist when they ask you something, or when you'll have to be diplomatic about a situation, especially when the client does not want you to send something out to the media, or say the media has a leak. They come asking you because you handle the brand or the client. You'll have to be very diplomatic in that situation. And that's where being a good communicator comes in place. Your roles and responsibilities as a PR professional. PR professionals publicize a client's business and promote the desired image. They create content, plan events to reach the target audience. They also manage relationships with the media and analyze and track data to measure progress and outcomes. They work with other departments to create comprehensive strategy for brand promotion. So the last line, wherein you will be working with other departments, also means you will be working with your social media departments. You will also be working with different other agencies when it comes to your Facebook ads, your Instagram ads, even design agencies sometimes. And you will have to tell them in mind, you will have to tell them what you have in mind, the strategy that you've pulled in, and all of that stuff. And that's where being really good to the other agency and being really cooperative with the other agency comes in, because as a PR person, your company relies on you to get work done. And if there is no cooperation and understanding between you and the few other people, the work will never get done. So this is, I think, one of my main parts of the presentation. The scope of public relations in India. So it is one of the industries that emerged in India in the 90s, and it has come along. It has gone along to become one of the most competitive and rewarding career opportunities. So when I say it's one of the most competitive and rewarding career opportunities, what I mean is getting into the sector is not easy, but once you get in, it's a very rewarding job, because for anybody that likes to be tested on a daily basis, that likes a challenge, that likes to be a creative thinker, that likes to implement strategies, that likes to mingle with people, this is your job. And competition, of course, it's a very, very competitive industry. When I say competitive, what I mean is there will be 100 other PR professionals like you fighting for that one job sometimes. And sometimes there will be 100 PR professionals like you fighting for that one client. There are agencies popping up everywhere, because every organization, every client, and every client who has a public profile needs to be groomed and showcased in a positive manner. So back to where we are today when PR is concerned, we have clients who come to us and consult with us on how they can be groomed for the public and how they can be groomed for the media. So when it comes to understanding this whole grooming sector, you will be the one person to tell them their flaws and tell them where they can grow. And sometimes telling your clients their flaws is not very great. Clients don't appreciate that, but that is your job. And when it comes to showcasing a specific brand or a specific product into the market in a very positive manner, that is again something that comes down to the way you analyze the brand and the way you pull that strategy. And you are the one that sets an agenda for how the brand is perceived by its consumers, its competitors, and of course the target audience. So down to the final and best part, I guess. How much does a PR professional earn? So back in the day when I was in college, I always thought, being a publicist or being a PR professional was a very boring job. It was something that I never thought of, never wanted to do, because I didn't know. The harvest of putting in all the hard work. So when you start out, sometimes the pay can be a little down to your beginner level, but then once you become experienced PR professional, you'll end up earning a lot more than any of your juniors. On an average, a PR professional with just internship experience starts with a salary of 21,000. And eventually, as one gains experience, their annual income can go up to 12 to 15 lakhs per annum. Experienced freelance professionals have pay scales that differ from numbers mentioned above. So the whole purpose of me mentioning about freelancers here is because it's very natural, as somebody that's in the industry and as somebody that wants to learn about the industry. You might join an agency, you might want to understand, you might want to learn the job. And after you reach a small burnout in your career, you might want to branch out as a freelancer. And branching out as a freelancer is something that I would say that's not a bad option. But as a freelancer, you have your own risks as a PR professional. And those risks are totally worth it. When you land your first client, your first 3 months retainer, you'll end up earning around, let's say, if we're saying 12 lakhs per annum. As a freelance professional, if you land 2 clients, say on a 3 months or 6 months retainer, you'll end up earning nearly 4 to 5 lakhs in just 3 months. So this is my all in all explanation on the industry, why you should choose it, and how it is not limited to just a certain subject or a certain sector. It's open to everybody. And I'd love to see a couple of people from JNC who'll be publicists or PR professionals. And I'd love to meet you in the industry and see your growth. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now we are open for questions. I request Noreen ma'am, our moderator, to preside over Q&A session.
No, we passed. Anyone wants to ask a question, they can do so now. We'll pass the mic around to you. Just put up your hand and we'll pass the mic around. Any questions for Karen? Yeah, Shrishti, the mic is right here.
Audience who have joined virtually can put down their questions in the chat box. Questions will be taken.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi.
I'm Shrishti, and I'm from I'm in third year CEP. So my question to you is, you mentioned that you were a little demotivated and less interested when you first got into this job. So what kept you motivated to stay in this sector or to stay in this field? And what motivated you?
So what motivated me to continue as a publicist was once I understood that every day is a learning, and getting burnt out is not really an option, because every day we have different scenarios, different clients to deal with, and each of these clients come with their own specialties that in turn contribute to your growth.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Another question. So we got to know that you've had you have a network of over 500 Fortune companies. So are there any tips that or tricks that you would like to share with us as to how has your experience been with them?
So I think, as most of you would have assumed, handling Fortune 500 companies or companies who are profiled in that list is not very easy. These clients can be clients that sometimes push you over that whole line, and they don't have patience sometimes. But handling them with utmost care, patience, and of course, showing them that you know what's best for them is the only way to move forward.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank
There is a question in the chat box. It's from Aishwarya. And she says, freelancing is a well-paying job, but it doesn't promise security and stability. How would you suggest that we balance this and secure client? I mean, it's a question within a question.
Okay, so like Aishwarya rightly said, I will agree that it's not a secure job. But what I will also advise as a freelancer is once you land one client, your business development should not stop. And as you land more clients, you still continue to do business development because, say, one retainer gets over or the contract is done and the client does not renew, you still have more clients, and that way you won't end up going broke.
Any more questions in the audience?
Hi, Ms. Karen. I'm Deepika and I'm from my second year. My question is, how do you deal when you're in a company, and how do you deal with competition in a very healthy manner?
Okay. To be honest, I really like that question because I ask myself that question sometimes. So the only way I deal with competition is not letting competition get to me. I understand being in the industry, everybody has their own strengths, and some people will excel in what's your weakness. But the only way that I move forward is to continue strengthening my strengths and building on my weaknesses.
Anyone else?
Hi, ma'am. This is Bhavna. I am a second year student. Ma'am, my question is, you told PR can get into sectors like entertainment, food, and all of such sorts, but why not farming? Like farming, I've not heard any sector talking about farming.
So there are clients that are in farming. The simple example that I'll give you is Akshay Kalpa. Even though they're into organic milk and dairy products, they're also into farming. And if you do come across a client like that, please go ahead with the client if that's your interest. But I also feel PR professionals do get into clients that are into the sector. Like we have your Nature's Basket, we have your Namdaris, we have a couple of other brands that have their own PR people. But one thing that I will say is when it comes to farming per se, unless and until it's a company or a professional that's looking to get noticed by the media, looking to get groomed by the media, a PR professional doesn't really work.
There's a question at the back here.
Hello, ma'am. I just want to know what's the ideal course to become a PRO? Academically, like which course for your masters?
Okay, so like I said, if you'd like to do a course or a short-term course in public relations, you can always take up a certified course and become a certified PR professional. But one thing that I will also say at the same time is regardless of what degree you have, being a PR professional and molding into one is only on-the-job training.
Thank you, ma'am.
Maya ma'am wants to ask a question.
Karen, if you can throw a little more light on how our students can get into the sector, where do they look for opportunities, openings?
Right.
Where exactly to look for an entry point into the public sector?
Okay. So getting into the public relations sector, your first place to look at right out of college would be LinkedIn. Please look at jobs that mention public relations or a publicist or a manager or something on those lines. So your CV goes around. But again, the other thing that I would mention is increasing your LinkedIn connections and your network, because the moment you do that, we have people who end up putting up posts where they say they're hiring for a specific PR role, or they're hiring for a fresher role in the PR industry. And that way you will be able to get a good job as a PR person, because honestly, I started my career that way. I was right out of college and I was looking for a job. And when I saw this opening with my first company that I worked with, it just mentioned editor. But the moment I ended up reading the roles and responsibilities, I understood that it had everything to do with the African media landscape. And I wanted to learn it, and I wanted to understand everything that goes into press release distribution or PR, as I mentioned, and I applied to it without prior experience. So sometimes there are companies that are open to hiring freshers because they like fresh minds, they like people who are enthusiastic, and you will get the job. But LinkedIn is the best job portal to actually apply on. And when I say LinkedIn, I also mean really grooming your profiles, having a very nice CV, a crisp description of who you are and why you need the job. And if you're a fresher, you can always mention you're a fresher on LinkedIn. But when you're applying for a job, please make sure that your CVs are well formatted, well designed, and your skills are highlighted. So when the job poster looks at it, they actually call you for an interview. Thank you, ma'am.
Karen, there's one more question. How can you actually tell the client about their flaws diplomatically?
Okay, that's a really nice question. So telling the client about their flaws starts from, I think, point A of their branding. Something as simple as, say, if we're going to look into their branding perspective, say, if we're going to actually analyze their logo, we start with saying, maybe we can rebrand, not say the logo is bad, but say we can rebrand and understand the client brief first of who they are and what they do. And if they are lacking presence or business in the market, we tell them what's best for them, in a way wherein we're trying to show them that we're going to help them with their business by grooming them first.
Thank you. Any more questions, girls? Yeah, Monisha. Mic to Monisha.
Ma'am, I'm Monisha from BCom B. You told if there are mistakes made by the PR, how would you tell it to the public? How will you cover it, or how will you put forth?
Okay, so there are just a couple of mistakes that actually happen with a PR person where the public is related. One will be sending out a press release that wasn't supposed to go out at that specific time. The only way that you'll be able to do it is reach out to the media and tell them to take back the press release. It doesn't work most of the time, but 90% of the time you will have a few of them being taken back, but once it's out to the media, you can't really rectify it. The other mistake a PR person usually makes with the public will be a bad execution of a specific strategy. So that way, the only way you'll be able to rectify it is say, I made a mistake and it's my learning and I'm going to move forward from it. I'll give you a simple example. One of it would be a fresher trying to invite journalists for a press con. Because they don't have a relationship with journalists, they might not turn up to the press conference. So then what happens is the client is going to be there, of course, but the head count that was mentioned to the client, which is 40, is just 7. So the only way to rectify that is telling the client a day before and saying, hey, we have cancellations and this is how it's going to look. But however, I can help you with a couple of media interviews. So there are very few places where you'll make a mistake with the public per se, but there are more places where you'll make mistakes with the client and the company, like internal communication.
Any more questions from the audience? First years, any questions? Yeah, there is one more question in the chat about crisis management. Okay, and what are the challenges you have faced as a PR professional?
Okay.
If you could, highlight any case study or something.
Okay, so one of the crises that I faced was with relation to one of the brands that I was handling in Bangalore prior in the beginning of this year. And they were supposed to have a launch on Good Friday. And being a holiday for most people and people from the Christian community, our invitee list was mainly on most people that were Catholics, and nobody wanted to turn up. Despite your invitations going out and stuff, we had around 100 people on the guest list, and we had just 12 confirmations. So the only way I was able to handle that crisis was by talking to the client again, taking a big step, talking to the client and telling them if we could postpone the launch of the place to by a week, and then inviting people because we'd have a bigger turnout. And one of the other issues was something that I dealt with recently, wherein we had a well-known brand, and they were having a press conference, and they had got somebody else to do their invites. The other person who was doing their invites told the brand that they're going to have 50 media to turn out from Bangalore. And I got a call when I realized that it wasn't even half of 50 that were in attendance. So again, what I did was I advised people who are in talks with the brand to tell the client that this is the issue, and people are not going to turn out, and be transparent about it. So the client comes in alignment with what they're expecting. So I would say when it comes to crisis management and giving these two examples, the only way to handle a crisis peacefully and with confidence is to be transparent with your client, however big, however small. Transparency is the key forward, and always remember, as a PR professional or a publicist, when it comes to crisis, that is the place where your ethics as a publicist will be tested. You will have people telling you, why don't we get people who try to look, who we can say are journalists but are not really journalists. But always understand that you need to stay true to your values, and your money comes after that. Because once you lose your reputation as a publicist or as a PR professional, working in the industry becomes very difficult. Getting work in the industry becomes very difficult, and spoiling your reputation is all it takes to lose every single media relationship you have.
Thanks. That was so well put. Okay, Karen, any more questions, girls?
Ma'am, I think there's a...
Yeah, there's a hand that's gone up there. Give her the. Okay. I think I think one of the questions that most people who are looking for internships in the PR sector would want to know, if you could name a few places in Bangalore who are open for internships.
Okay, so a couple of places would be your MSL, your PR Pandit. They also have Scoop PR, Edelman, I'm not really sure. Sometimes we have even this, mostly they are all boutique agencies. But to get your foundation, yeah, we also have Web Chutney. To get your foundation right, I would always tell everybody who's applying for an internship to start their career in not a boutique agency, but a full-fledged PR and marketing firm to get the foundation right. And then if you don't like the culture, you jump out into a boutique agency because your principles and foundation is already right through your internship.
Excuse me, ma'am. There's a question here. It's from Anupriya from first BSc. She wants to know, is there any age limit or what is the age bar that is most preferred in this field?
I mean, there's no age limit or age bar, but technically, you should be somebody that's just graduated. And also, we have people in the industry, especially in Bangalore, who are in their 40s, 45 plus, people who are lawyers who've become PR people. All of this is there, but there is no age bar as long as you can handle the client pressure and as long as you can handle a ton of running around, please go for it, despite however old or however young you are.
Thanks, Karen. That
Thank
was
you so
really
much.
enriching. And thank you for giving them insights into the internship field also.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Karen ma'am and Noreen ma'am. Thankfulness is the beginning of gratitude, and gratitude is the beginning of thankfulness. With a deep sense of admiration, I extend my heart warm welcome, appreciation to our chief patron and principal, Dr. Sister Lalita Thomas, for her immense support, and to Maya ma'am, HOD of the Department of English, for her guidance and supervision. I also thank our guest speaker, Ms. Karen Martin, for enlightening us about opportunities present in the PR sector, and I'm sure this would be definitely helpful to the audience. I would also like to thank our technical staff, Mr. Praveen, Mr. Basil, Mr. Richard, for their constant support, and also Mr. Francis for auditorium arrangements. Last but not the least, I take this opportunity to thank all the Lit Club members for their hard work and also our audience who are physically present with us in the auditorium and also to those who have joined us virtually. An important announcement. All of you are requested to join the meeting link and fill the feedback form to receive your e-certificates given in the chat box.